CTV's Colton Praill is standing by for us on Parliament Hill with more. Colton, we just had that breaking news today. Chrystia Freeland stepping down, all on the same day that she is set to deliver that fall economic report.
Yeah, and in a public letter, she comments on the fact that there has been tension between her office and the PMO for the last several weeks, and that on Friday he asked her to no longer be his finance minister, but that there would be another option in cabinet for Ms. Freeland. She says that's something that she can't take. She can't continue to work in that cabinet if she doesn't have the confidence of the Prime Minister, and she says that's something that clearly has been lost if she can't serve as his finance minister. And so the implication here of what we're seeing is really quite significant. It not only speaks to two very different ideologies in how to move forward, and we see reference to that throughout the letter, talking about Freeland saying she put strenuous efforts to manage spending to give Canada flexibility in order to deal with the tariff threat posed by Donald Trump. She talks about keeping our fiscal powder dry, having reserves in case there is a tariff war, and the need to eschew what she calls political gimmicks. This is a very clear message that there has been opposing views on how best to deal with not only the tariff threat that Canada is facing, but also how to deal with our fiscal policy. And we've seen that in the lead up to this fall economic statement that Ms. Freeland will be delivering later on this afternoon. So much of the talk has been about the fact that this government has been unable to maintain the fiscal anchors that it sets for itself. And certainly in this new fall economic statement, we are expecting a certain amount of new spending. We've seen as of Friday that they're spending $26 billion over the next 6 years on business tax incentives. We've seen housing policies. There was a press release last week that talked about that there was going to be a suite of additional housing policies in this. We know there's going to be spending on the GST tax relief, $1.6 billion. There's certainly been reports that there were disagreements over whether that was the appropriate thing to do at this point in time. And certainly there's been very fair criticism from a number of economists across the political spectrum on the validity of this policy, as well as the $250 rebate checks that were promised. Now, we're not expecting those in the fall economic statement, but certainly what you're getting at here is a bigger picture of disharmony between the Finance Office and the Prime Minister's office, and two very different visions of what Canada needs to do to prepare itself. And certainly it seems like Chrystia Freeland is framing this as a situation where Canada needs to have flexibility for whatever Donald Trump brings forward, and she feels she is unable to deliver that flexibility as finance minister. Meanwhile, you have the Prime Minister's office, who clearly doesn't believe they're able to get their agenda forward with Chrystia Freeland as the finance minister. And certainly we've seen the rumors, we've heard the reporting that they are courting Mark Carney again. Whether this means they've been successful in that remains to be seen, but this is very significant for the Liberal cabinet, especially given the number of high-profile ministers they have lost or are losing. You know, we're talking Pablo Rodriguez, Sean Fraser, Chrystia Freeland, Randy Boissonnault, Dan Vandal, Jeanette Petitpas-Taylor. The list goes on. This is a very significant turnover for this cabinet, and certainly the next shuffle is going to be crucial for this government.
All right, CTV's Colton Praill reporting for this in Ottawa. Thank you very much for this, Colton.
Anytime.